Good morning. It is Sunday, May 25th, I think. I'm not in the best of moods. Yesterday took a lot out of me. Tried to take the scenic route so that I could see more interesting things rather than just cornfields and cows off the side of the highway, and I ended up adding about 2 hours to my trip and made it to where the last 3 hours of my ride yesterday were in the pouring rain. At one point my bike shut off on me on the highway. I think it just took in too much water and choked itself out. But it tested me a lot yesterday. It's supposed to rain pretty much all day today. This is what the weather's going to be like. My plan is to go to Rocky Mountain National Park and then Pikes Peak. It looks like when I get to Rocky Mountain National Park at around 10 a.m., it should be dry enough for me to go up. Pikes Peak, on the other hand, is looking like thunderstorms all day long. So if we make it to Rocky Mountain National Park and the weather at Pikes Peak looks bad, I'm just going to head to Colorado Springs and check into a hotel for the day. And not ride up Pikes Peak. Worst case scenario, I might try and book a timed entry for tomorrow, but it's looking like the weather for Pikes Peak is going to be just as bad tomorrow. So we're about to hit the road. Our first stop for today is actually Walmart to pick up some tape to tape up the front vent in my visor because it let in water yesterday, and that was part of my problem, was that I had water on my visor and water on my glasses, and I couldn't see anything at all really for the last 3 hours of my ride. So I'm going to tape up the front vent and hope that fixes the issue. I'm also probably going to break my rule today and stop at a fast food place to get some breakfast. I needed to leave today at 6 a.m. to have any luck of hitting that timed entry at Pikes Peak, which I may not end up being able to go to anyways, but I needed to leave at 6 a.m. and breakfast at the hotel just started 3 minutes ago, so I will probably stop at McDonald's or something and grab some food for the road. I also think I'm going to get some WD-40 while I'm at Walmart, because I noticed yesterday that my rear brake lever is sticking, and I noticed that when I pulled into the hotel last night. So I'm hoping I can lube up the shaft a little bit. I know WD-40 is not ideal, but I'm hoping it'll get me through. The rear brakes still work, they just stick, and I have to pull the lever up to get them to turn off. So it's definitely not ideal. We still have front brakes though. Those are going good, they're going strong. So if I have to finish out the trip with just front brakes and being cautious, then so be it. When I get home, I will probably just order a new master cylinder. And replace the one on there, because the front brakes could use a good bleed too, probably. And this is the smallest Walmart I have ever seen, so hopefully they have everything I'm looking for. But I'm gonna head inside and grab the few things I need, and then we'll be on our way to Rocky Mountain National Park for the day. Alright, we are about to head out. Got everything I needed at Walmart. Helmet's taped up. I lubricated up the piston on my rear master cylinder, and it seems to be back to normal. I think it was just because the rain I rode through yesterday was super silty, and I think it just got some grit in there, and kind of got gummed up. As I ended up buying these kitchen cleaning gloves too, because yesterday I got these waterproof gloves, and they're pretty hard to get on and off because they're like fur lined. So I was hoping if I bought some gloves to wear under them, my hands would slide in easier, and it works a lot better actually. So getting gloved up and gonna hit the road. Alright, I'm officially in Colorado. Crossed the state line probably 5-10 minutes ago. I missed the sign though because well, I can't see anything right now. It's not really raining, but I'm pretty sure we're just driving through a cloud at this point. We are starting to enter the Rockies though, I think. Again, I can't really see anything, and it's a little too wet for me to mess around on my maps and trying to zoom in, zoom out, see where we're at exactly. But I'm pretty sure we're starting to enter the base of the Rockies. As the highway is starting to go up and down quite a bit more. So far, we're about an hour into the ride. It really hasn't been too bad. My visor's fogging up a little bit, but it does seem that sealing my chin vent on my helmet helped with the water leaking in, except now there's absolutely no air coming in, and like I said, my visor's a little foggy. But I would much prefer to ride through this misty cloud than the pouring rain like I was yesterday afternoon. At least the roads are kind of dry right now. I just wish I could see, because from the thin outline I can see it looks like we're in a pretty beautiful area, but yeah, I can't really see past a few hundred feet. So I'm gonna stop talking now because doing all this talking is making my visor more foggy, which means I can see even less. But I'm gonna keep going, and we got a little over 3 hours to go, so I will I don't know, hop back on here maybe when I can see something interesting. And this kind of fog rolls out. It is only 7 a.m. so maybe in a couple hours when the sun's a little higher in the sky might help clear some of this fog, even though it's supposed to be cloudy all day. But like I said, I'm gonna get off here because I'm fogging up my visor and I want to be able to see. So yeah. Alright, it's been about 45 minutes since my last update, and for now at least we've made it out of that cloud and the rain, and it's a bit drier, still chilly, not quite sure what the temperature is right now. I'm assuming low 50s. The sun is trying its absolute hardest to peek out from behind this thick layer of clouds. But it's already so much nicer riding conditions. I think I need to find another cycle gear and see if they have a pin lock in stock for my helmet or my visor. I've got one on, but it's I noticed last night in the hotel that for some reason it's not wanting to seal properly, and I've got some moisture in between my visor and the pin lock. So that's fun. But other than that, I can actually see where I'm going now, and it's starting to look more like what I expect Colorado to look like, just from all of the videos and stuff I've seen over the years of it. We got about 2 hours and 40 minutes to go until we're at Rocky Mountain National Park, but it should be, at least for the most part, dry for the rest of the morning until you get to Rocky Mountain National Park. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much, because I do know I will be riding through more rain later today, either on my way to Pikes Peak or on my way to Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is where I'm planning on staying for the night, but I don't have anything booked yet, just because I wasn't sure how I would be feeling today and whether or not I'd want to push all the way to Colorado Springs when I was done at Rocky Mountain National Park. I was debating just staying in Denver. Like I said, yesterday took a lot out of me, more mentally than physically. It's the highs and lows of a road trip are significantly more extreme on a motorcycle when you're exposed to all of the elements. Like, yeah, in a car it would have sucked to ride through that cloud and not be able to see anything, but at least you'd be dry and warm, where I guess I am mostly dry. So I've got my rain suit on and it covers from my toes to my neck, so I'm dry, but I'm not dry at the same time, if that makes sense. Even though my skin's dry, I am wet. But yeah, the highs and lows are so extreme on a motorcycle. And while I was riding through that cloud, I was, really thinking, like, why do I choose to do this on a motorcycle? Because so far there's no part of this journey that wouldn't have been, or that would have been any less enjoyable in my truck. I've always said, you go somewhere on a motorcycle and it's like you're an actor in a movie, and you go somewhere in a car and it's like you're watching the movie through a screen. And I would say so far the same would still be true for this trip, but it's pretty much just been straight line riding the whole time. We are definitely going to get into some mountains today, obviously going to Rocky Mountain National Park, and tomorrow we'll be riding over the Rockies and into Moab, which I'm really excited for, because on the other side of the Rockies it should be about 30 degrees warmer, 20 to 30 degrees warmer than the temperatures I've been dealing with pretty much since I left my house Friday morning, which will be so nice and a good change of pace. But yeah, it's I don't know. The motorcycle, last year when I went on my road trip, being on a motorcycle added so much to the trip. 'Cause I basically left
Ohio and went into Pennsylvania, and then by the time I was halfway through Pennsylvania, I was on some of the best roads I had ever ridden before. And obviously West Virginia into Virginia and then down into North Carolina, like, it was beautiful. And again, some of the best roads I've ever ridden on, and the weather was beautiful the whole trip. And like, so far, as far as riding goes, this trip's been kind of a disappointment. And again, I'm well aware that I could have planned a route that was more back roads and much more scenic than what I've been on. But the weather's not been great, and so I haven't really had a whole day to where I say it's going to be sunny and 65 degrees all day long. It doesn't matter how long it takes me to get there, as long as I get there. I'm kind of fighting against what the weather's given me, and I'm trying to do my best to not be riding in pouring rain and low 50-degree weather the whole time. Like I said, once we cross over onto the western side of the Rockies, weather's supposed to improve significantly, and then after that I'll be headed down south into Arizona and New Mexico, Texas, which I don't even know if it's supposed to rain. I haven't looked that far out on the weather forecast, but if it's 60 or 70 and rainy, that is so much better than 55 and wet and rainy. So yeah, it's going good. Like I said, I'm so happy to be out of the rain and the weather. Oh, and a thought I had earlier, when I pulled up to that Walmart this morning, and I said, wow, this is the smallest Walmart I've ever seen. I was prepared to go in there and it looked like a Dollar General, but that Walmart was probably 3 to 4 times smaller than any other Walmart I've ever been in, and had all of the same stuff I would find at my local Walmart at home. I'm sure there's some stuff they don't carry, like all of the different international sections. But to be honest, who really needs 50 choices of olive oil and 19 choices of soy sauce? I'm saying all this to say that I think we as Americans have taken the big and big box store a little too far. I mean, who really needs a 150,000 square foot Walmart that carries 90 versions of everything you want? If anything, it makes shopping more difficult and cumbersome, because now I have to search through 90 different versions of it to figure out what I want. But I think it has to do with the fact that for some reason as Americans, we equate something being big to it being nice. Like, as soon as I pulled up to that Walmart, I was like, oh, this Walmart's not going to be very nice, just because it was small and not what I was used to. But it was genuinely probably the cleanest Walmart I have ever been in. And like I said, it still had everything I needed, and I didn't go up and down every aisle, but it looked like they had everything you could want. So hopefully the rest of the day goes a lot smoother. I don't think we're supposed to get the thunderstorms in Colorado Springs. If I remember correctly, they're supposed to start around like 2 or 3, which my timed entry for Pikes Peak is between 2 and 4. But I'll be honest, if I make it all the way to Colorado Springs and there is no rain whatsoever, I will probably just go ahead and check into my hotel. Because like I said, I haven't booked a hotel yet, but I do know which one I'm probably going to book, and it's in between Pikes Peak and Rocky Mountain National Park. Worst case scenario, I drop all my stuff at the hotel and I end up riding up Pikes Peak with an empty bike. We are currently in Loveland, Colorado, about 30 miles out from Rocky Mountain National Park. So far, the ride hasn't been terrible. Could definitely be better. But it's been raining on and off. Have not broke 50 degrees all day. And my fingers are starting to notice that. I say they're definitely cold. They've definitely been cold for a while now. Now that we're in town, we're running some lower speeds. They're starting to warm up a bit. So we got about 30 miles till Rocky Mountain National Park. And I think I've decided that I'm just going to skip Pikes Peak today and head straight to the hotel if possible. Might even call them to see if I could do like a 1 hour early check-in and just relax, put on some warm clothes, and probably get an Uber to take me somewhere for dinner, because I skipped dinner last night because it was raining and I really wasn't all that hungry. And then this morning, I know I said I was going to break my rule, and oh wow. I know I said I was going to break my rule and grab some fast food for breakfast, but I ended up not grabbing anything because I just wanted to go. I wanted to get on the road, beat out the rain. I was hoping it was going to be drier than it has been, but it's been sprinkling on and off pretty much the whole way here. So, but yeah, I'm not sure how much battery I have left on my GoPro, and I'm not gonna stop to change it. So if it dies, it dies. And the reason I'm not gonna stop to change it is because getting these gloves on and off, I don't feel like dealing with it. I say, it looks like we are finally getting into some real mountains and not just rolling hills. So I wanted to go up to Rainbow Curve. I was hoping it would be open by the time I was out here, but it is still closed due to weather. So we are headed to, oh wow. So we're headed to the visitor center just below Rainbow Curve. Wow. I suspect that as we work our way into these mountains, the temperature is going to continue to drop. It actually says it went up to 52. But as we climb an elevation, I'm assuming, like I said, it's going to start getting colder and colder. If I know anything about mountains, that's usually how they work. Man. I was so prepared to be disappointed when I finally got out here. Just because the ride here for the last 2.5 days has been pretty crappy and uneventful. But man, I would say so far the biggest difference between the Rockies and the Appalachian Mountains, which I'm much more familiar with, other than the fact that these are a lot rockier. The Appalachians, you kind of slowly work your way into them, and they slowly get bigger and bigger. And here it's just like we went from relatively flat, hilly land to boom, mountains. Like I said, I wish it was 60 and sunny, but these are the cards I dealt, and I'm gonna make the most of them. Wow. I'm genuinely kind of speechless. Now is probably a good time to remember that the roads are wet and I do not have a rear brake. I know I said this morning after I lubricated it, it felt better, but it is pretty much non-existent now. So I only have front brakes for the next 6 days of this 9-day adventure, but oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
Roosevelt National Forest. So we've officially made it to our destination for the day. The scale of this is just crazy. Like I said, I've spent so much time watching like travel videos and motorcycle road trip videos, and so many of those have came through here, and watching on a screen just does it no justice.
I could not imagine living out here and just waking up and looking out the front door and this is your view. This is just, there's just so much to look at, and it's all just equally breathtaking. I do think we're above the clouds now because it just got real dry. Have no clue what elevation we are at though, and I have no service, so don't know what the current temperature is. It feels like it warmed up, but it might just be because the air is drier up here. And I'm glad that everyone in front and behind of me is on the same page, that we're just kind of meandering along. I don't think we've actually hit the speed limit for more than a few seconds this whole ride. So we have 13 more miles of this. Just wow. Alright, we've been at Rocky Mountain National Park for about an hour or so, roughly. I did not expect this place to look like Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, every national park I've ever been to. It's kind of had a visitor center and that's it. This place has like 4 or 5 visitor centers, and as you can see, there's cabins everywhere to rent. See, my GoPro shut off about halfway up the mountain. So I've got a fresh battery in now, so it should make it all the way down the mountain on this battery. Say it's kind of funny, the duality of man, I guess, because clearly we all recognize that this is a beautiful place and we need to preserve it, and I'm sure we do to an extent. But at the same time, you know, we pave all these roads and build all these cabins to rent because as much as we want to see the beauty up close, we only want to see it if we're comfortable. You know, we only want to see it if we can drive our car directly to it and have enough parking spots that we don't have to wait in line to park. It's interesting that in order to do that, we destroy what we love to look at, just so we can look at less of it more conveniently, if that makes sense. So there's a skylift up there. So this is kind of what I mean when I said it reminds me of Gatlinburg. Look at that view. Yeah, like I said, it's got a built-up little town been a long time since I've been to Gatlinburg, but it definitely has the same feel. So I thought about stopping somewhere in here to grab food, but I figured I would skip out on all of the touristy places to eat and find somewhere closer to my hotel that's I don't know, just not touristy, I guess. The views are spectacular. Part of me wishes the fog wasn't there so I could see further, but I feel like it adds something. I don't even know if it's still technically considered fog this high up, or if at this point you just call it a cloud.
Just pulled over to take some pictures on my phone really quick.
Probably for me, the engine. My bike is so large. Engine brake. Okay, we're coming up on Denver, Colorado. Got 1 hour left until we get to Colorado Springs, which is where my hotel is at for the night.